All right, now we're live. 3-4 minutes late because of the stinking stream key again.
You never know. You just never know.
Just changing all kinds of nonsense on us. All right, I'm gonna let you go. Go edit the.
I'm doing it now. I'm getting on in there.
I'm switching accounts.
Well, that's a good idea.
Now I'm gonna go.
What the hell is that? Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to get over there. That's a good idea. There it is.
Yeah.
Good God Almighty. Hi guys, it's us. We're here. It's 8:30. This is David, SIL. How y'all doing?
Yeah.
We are. Well, that's Mark over there breathing heavy into the mic. Where's my thing, dude? What? Where? Where's my dude?
What are you talking about?
Where did my airplanes go? Oh, there they is. Okay, I always do the airplanes on the chat right away when we start, so I wanted to get them in there.
You're so stupid. What in the world are you talking about? Oh, I see the little watermark. Look at that.
Isn't it cool? I'm telling you, man. We look good now.
It's official.
Yeah, we're a little more official looking.
We official looking now. How's about that? Welcome to Paper Aircraft Weekly.
And happy Thanksgiving, folks.
And Turkey Day to you too. And you see, what we have a problem is we need to change the title.
It's doing it now, fool. Get off your hobby horse.
In other news,
so we had some news over the time he was gone. We'll get to some of this news out of the way first, because NASA's over there, had a first flight. He's showing them off to you right there. What do you have there over there, Eddie?
This guy right here. So I'll let you people take a guess of which one sucked and which one didn't. Because I'll tell you right now, I know. I'll tell you right now, I was kind of surprised.
I was guessing that the Dodge paper one actually probably wasn't as good because it wanted to glide, so it's the lighter plane.
No.
I mean, if I had to guess.
No, it actually. Yes,
why were you surprised?
Yeah, well, I'm surprised that the Dodge paper one sucked because it actually didn't do anything. It nosedived into the ground.
Oh.
It's still too heavy. As you can tell, it took some damage to the front of the nose.
Oh, yeah, it sure did, didn't it?
Because that's how I tried throwing it the same as this one. And this one didn't take as much damage because, it's lighter. So it glides really well. This one actually flies really well. So that was today, the 27th. I took them out this morning on my way to work. Got a couple test throws in just to see how they do. And made me angry. It sure did. But this one also, remember, I cut some of the weight out of the front. I cut that part off.
Oh?
Yeah.
Remember? Did you end up helping?
Remember? Yeah. Like, I cut this part of it off, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Off the top.
Okay.
So yeah, because I couldn't do that with this one. Well, technically, I couldn't do that with this one because I folded it underneath. So,
right.
I'm wondering if that had something to do with it.
Perhaps. I mean,
but then again, I put more.
I don't know.
I think I put more tape on. No, I didn't put more tape on this one. I got the same amount of tape.
But it's already going to be a lighter plane anyway because of the material it's made of, correct?
This one is lighter, yes.
Okay, so, I mean, cutting off of it, it's like, it didn't, did it fly upside down a lot? Either one of them fly upside down a lot.
No, so it didn't fly upside down at all.
Okay, that's a plus.
This
I
one,
figure maybe
this one actually flew
that.
really well. Like, the design is there. Like, at least this right here is there.
Right.
I basically just need to cut a little bit more weight out of this one, or do something to change the weight distribution. Because this one just nosedives.
Okay, so yeah, okay. Obviously, you must have a little bit of a weight issue there.
Yeah.
What about weight? Is there any? You have tape in the front holding it together, or is it free?
Oh well, it was taped. It split.
Okay.
I mean, it's not. I mean, they're both taped.
Okay, but that one held it together better. The other one, like you said, it broke apart.
Yeah, because this one just went straight into the ground like that. So the impact of the throw split the tape a little bit. But that didn't make a difference as far as everything else, because it still is too heavy. I can kind of feel the difference. But that has a lot to do with the paper itself.
Right.
So I'm thinking about making another one of these and not cutting that off and seeing how it flies. That's
okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, like you said, you know it was dipping, so you went cutting it, trimming it to get it to stop doing what that you're talking about is obviously the next route, right? So
yeah, I mean, and it wouldn't be so hard to fix this one. I could literally just trim some of this weight out, or I could cut some of this weight out. It wouldn't be hard, honestly.
All right.
I could trim.
That's cool.
I could trim more of the nose. Just trim it again, give it another cut, trim another section out, and retape it.
That's probably your next route. I mean, that's probably your next best bet. I mean, simply that, just because you know it's a weight issue. I don't think. Well, you said it nosed up like every time. How far did it go before it nosed up?
Huh?
How far did it go before it nosed up?
About 3 feet.
Oh, so it's immediate. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's immediate.
Really heavy.
Yeah.
It's really heavy.
Yeah,
you
really
might
heavy.
want to think about then. See all that top area you got?
Yeah, I'm thinking
the
about
first
taking
fold,
this out.
Yeah, you should. Maybe that should be it. Take all that out. Yeah, that's probably even a better bet. Just X-Acto knife that whole top end off of there.
Yeah.
And even give it, like you said, maybe a 16th off the leading edge right there.
Yeah.
Just to be sure. I wouldn't touch the slant yet. Just the leading edge. Just shorten it just a hair. Yeah, there you go. Just cut a little bit off of that. I mean, see where that starts out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's obviously a good design. The other one flew fine. It just doesn't like that Dodge paper.
Yeah, so
we
what
keep
I'm
calling
do,
it that. That's not what it is, but...
Well, no, it's pretty close.
Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I would put it in the same category, honestly.
Oh,
it's like it's almost like a because you know how it feels like laminate.
Yeah.
Like a thick, like
we say
plastic
it's
kind
like
of paper.
It's flyer paper. It's like a brochure paper, right?
Yeah.
So it's glossy.
Yeah, it's a gloss. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. That's exactly what it feels like.
Okay. So yeah, it turns out to be heavy. So I mean, well, then again, also barring that, maybe it's just a plane that likes to use normal sheets as opposed to those sheets.
And that could be.
Well, again, yeah, but although you should be able to trim it up enough to get it to where that thing will fly pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. How far? Well, going back to that, how far did the other one go? What did the other one do?
That one flew probably about 15 feet.
15 feet. That's not very far.
I wasn't really trying to throw it far.
Oh, you were taking. Oh.
I was throwing lighter. I was throwing lighter throws, and then I did start throwing this one heavier, and it still did the same thing. Thinking that the type of throw was affecting it, but it wasn't. It was doing the same thing no matter how I threw it. But this one, even when I was throwing it a little bit harder, it still flew. So it's not the throw that makes the difference on if it flies or if it doesn't.
Okay. Okay.
So this one is actually a really good one, just, kind of training wise. Like it really will let you do kind of pretty much anything.
Oh, so you might have a. Oh, well, wait. You don't need another. Well, Firecat's just a lead-in trainer, right? It's not one of your Hatros or Lytro. You don't have a Hatro or Lytro right now.
Right. I don't have any.
Okay, so this one could be that.
Yeah, I really want to get it out there and get some distance on it. Try to get some distance on it and see what it can do.
Distance. And this kind of gets us. This kind of gets us into. That's a pretty good segue. This kind of gets us into where we're talking here. So, distance, as what he's talking about. So, 15 feet. 15 feet. Keep in mind, not too terrible far. 15 feet.
Nope.
I don't know. I'd say that's almost like close to short range.
That's close support range. That's exactly what it was. Close support range.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically like 3 car lengths. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well, that's a little bit more than 15 feet. 3 car lengths.
Okay.
Cow.
Not. I should say 3 parking spots.
Width or length?
Width.
Width? Okay,
So
yeah, you're right.
you know how
that's
they're
a little bit closer to.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was probably about 4. It was probably about 4, but I wasn't really counting because I was just kind of standing there and just threw it.
I think I don't know. I don't remember exactly if they make a parking spot. It depends on the parking spot too, because some are more narrow than others. But if they make it a standard like a lane, it's like anywhere from 11 to 13 feet, and usually they make it more narrow than that, so around 9 foot. So I mean, guesstimations.
Yeah. And I'm just kind of throwing it out there, I mean, I don't know exactly how far it went, but I know the other one flew, like this one flew, literally it landed in the parking spot right next to me, nosedived.
Oh.
So it literally would go. It literally went like maybe 5 feet at the most, because of the inertia from throwing it. It still had some distance on it because of how I was throwing it. But other than that, it didn't fly. But this one,
That's almost too bad.
But this one flew the width of like 3 to 4, car spots.
Right.
Parking spots. So
it seems like it's a potential for very wasp-like. So
I would still consider it close, because all my other ones are much further than that.
Right.
I would consider it close.
Right.
At least for what I was doing.
It's all in a matter of everybody knows their own plane. So if you've got your, because you got close, short, medium, long. So whatever does kind of overlaps itself, but still beats the last one, you've got it. That's basically it. And talking about that, furthering this along a little bit as far as distance goes, a lot of us, y'all out there, be questioning exactly what the dead roll does and is. And again, the best way to describe it is basically just another way. It's cool sounding, but it's the best way for us to just get another design in our forces, our individual contractor forces. It's basically to get you to build another long-range glider, because that's what it is. Whatever your long-range strike aircraft is, the longest of long ranges, this one's basically a duplicate of that. And since it's essentially the dead, which stands for defeat or deception of enemy air defenses, by the way, it's basically your decoy. What you're trying to do is launch that, make the enemy think the primary attack is coming. They send up interceptors against that thing, while the primary attack is like flanking around the other side with your true long-range striker. So you do want a good plane to be both of those birds, but you want your best to be the long-range striker. The dead, probably a step down a little bit. Still can glide good, but you don't want it to be like laden with technology. You don't want it to be the most advanced thing you've got. It took you the longest to build. So
Yeah.
If that clarifies for you. But again, it's still paramount longest range you've got. You still want this thing to have the longest range. So these planes that you want, I mean, you can look at long range in different ways too. Obviously, your interceptor is going to be really long range, but in a straight line. Those things have to fly straight. I mean, they're interceptors. You want them to target the enemy plane. Strikers can be kind of loiterish. You know, they can loop around to where they need to go. The interceptor's taking this line, but the striker's going out here and doing this to get over here. So, same distance, but a different way to get there.
Well, it's not the same distance, but same endpoint.
No, yeah, true. It's a lot of it's really hard to get your interceptor to go to the same distance because it's usually a lot heavier nose. Because you also want it to be fast and high and hard and blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what makes it like if you're competitive about it. I mean, you have a glider that goes out. Yeah, sure, you're going to win distance if it actually gets distance, but who covers it faster? Who covers it? You know, I mean, if you need a straight line, the interceptor is going to do that the best. I mean, if you've got like say if you're taking the plane through a hallway, you know, if you're indoors, for example. I mean, you wouldn't be, but if you were, you can't put a glider through that. It's just going to run into the wall, like 5 feet in front of you. But the interceptor could probably travel down the hallway. This is basically for all of y'all who might be in competitions and so on and so forth. we're semi-acknowledging a request made about like long-range aircraft, which we'll demonstrate here. But just saying, again, if you're competitive and typically the competitions are indoors, you can see the benefits. If you're not in a hangar, if you're not in a gymnasium, you're trying to get distance. If it's probably down a hallway, if it's probably down a narrow room, you're going to want to fly as straight as possible to miss the obstacles. If you're in the gym, yeah, you can do whatever, fly it around, blah, blah, blah. So, but either way, there's aircraft in each other's forces. NASA's OAE, KIA, missile, SIL. We've all got planes that can do both. So, we'll be demonstrating a couple of those for you. And I mean, the one in front of him right there is probably not that bad, but Thunderbolt that he showed you, if you look up NASA's video, how to build Thunderbolt is a really good example of that. And it's readily available. I would highly recommend, as far as a competitive distance thrower, that you use Thunderbolt as an example. I've thrown it myself. NASA's built quite a few of them there. It's a really good example of
there we go.
Straight line interceptor, and it's easily modifiable. So if you modify it in certain ways, you could probably get a little bit better flight out of it even still.
Yeah, this one's got a little bit more stress on it than normal, as you can see.
Yeah, yes indeed.
But that's the whole reason why I don't make it this way anymore. Because this is a V1.
With all that stuff down. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a V1, and I don't make it this way anymore because this stress eliminates the flight, whereas this is not as stressed. And also I've changed the wings a little bit, or the anhedrals, but this is not as stressed in the wing pocket.
Yeah, you're right, and that looks much better. Even looking at it right there, I mean, yeah, definitely, it looks much better. Holy cow, that's right. That's that one that's got those cool anhedral bihedrals back there, huh? Yeah. Like, you probably couldn't do that if it had as much stress as V1 does.
Right, yeah. Because it still lays kind of flat back there, even though it's poofy.
Yep.
It's still pretty straight. Because I'm able to take a lot of the stress out with this up here, and it overlaps.
Indeed.
So I can take the stress out.
I was kind of seeing that, yeah, like if it's not going to bubble up wherever you have it, those bihedrals look like they're planted in such a way in the right spot, so you can do any kind of stress like that. You might not be able to play with what you want to play with, fold what you want to fold. Where this one, he's taking it back out and he can do that. So. Sometimes you have to build more than one. Don't get frustrated just because you try to build one plane and, oh man, it didn't turn out, ball it up and throw it out. I mean, we know this firsthand, don't we? It's like, you've got to build more than one. You've just got to. It's like taking pictures.
Well, yeah, because if this was the first one, This would have been garbage.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But
You can't.
this one
list off
happened to be the
You
first
know?
one. And then this was the second one, and I was expecting this one to be better than this one. But
It's just too heavy.
it's too heavy right now. Which, I mean, it's
See,
a simple fix, but it's an annoying fix.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've got more of the paper, also what you could do is you could keep it, and like retire it right away. It didn't work, and just build the other one and make your lighter cuts right into the other one as you go. You don't have to, like, okay, we know this doesn't work. Retire this one. You could put it into Palace and say, like, well, this is one of the keep number 1 and number 2. But then you know from now on, it's like, okay, we got to lighten this one up if it's got Dodge paper. So, you know.
Yep. But no, that's why
I've done that too.
You know, I'm still going to keep it. I'm not going to do anything with it, but
But yeah.
That's something to
Yeah.
keep on the back burner right there.
But also
these are the next ones that got to go out.
Do not let it dishearten you. Oh yeah. Do not let it dishearten you. Build more. Always build more. Those are they got to go. I can't believe that plane turned out so differently for both of us, man. Dude, for real. That thing, like, how in the hell did yours look like that? Mine looks like that, but like, dude, yeah. I need to build one that looks like that first one that you got right there. Yeah.
Yeah, this thing kind of came out looking like garbage.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I think it looks kind of sweet, really. I love the way the back end comes together.
But I like this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, they both look good. I just think they look good in different ways. That's all.
Like that one just.
I mean, yeah, that one's really sweet. But
I really think this one's gonna fly really well.
I'm actually surprised you just didn't bust that one out right away, because I figured like you were.
I thought about it.
I mean, you were balls on the one that you just built, but these were really cool too. So.
I mean, these are, you know, some of the most folds, like intricate folds that I put in a plane in a while.
I know, right? It's like it literally, when you look at the planes that you've built, when you look at the ones like you started out and you're at now, you look generations, you know, like you've passed through the generations, which is cool because you always wanted to be at that point.
Yeah.
You're at that point. You have generations now. You know, I mean, you've been in long enough that you could tell the difference. Like, man, I used to build that. Damn.
I mean, that's the thing. Like Diablo and Thunderbolt and even Spider came from the first ones. The V1s came out of that set. But Thunderbolt, I mean, the one that I'm at now did take time to get to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could spend a lot of time with that. I mean, on any of your planes and like kick yourself. It's like eating new food or something like that. When they come out with new food and like Reese's Pieces. It's a bad example, but it's a good example. You have Reese's peanut butter cups for the longest time, and all of a sudden they like, what if we put a hard candy shell around peanut butter? Oh my God! Why didn't we think of that before? It's the same thing. You know, like you could spend 20 years with one design, and you look at it, it's like, damn it, why didn't I think of that? You know, like that new Spider that you got. You could have done that years ago, but you didn't think of it. You know, so. Yep. But this is one of the reasons why it's nice to get with everybody, and because everybody else could give you those ideas. Like, I didn't think about that. I could do that. Blah blah blah. So. It's a wonderful hodgepodge, wonderful way of putting these together so you can think and share technology. Because everybody's going to have a different idea. I'll probably build since I keep talking about this and I've never done it, I might do it on the show tonight, especially for the distance people, you know, like needing some. I might build a lance so you have like
oh my goodness,
a classic SIL interceptor. It's retired a long time ago, but it worked really well for me for about 6 years in the Corps, and that'll work well for you indoors or outdoors and get pretty good distance with slight modifications. I mean, straight out the gate, you don't even need anything. But, like I said, we'll get into that there. Especially NASA's going to have to describe how REACT flies, but, you know. 1PO, that's right. Yeah. But let me get into some bigger news that you guys are gonna love this. You guys are gonna love this. Check this out. I'm pretty sure y'all see that.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. yes, I did. And they sent it. They asked. Remember, we were talking about a couple shows ago. They said, why don't we get some free samples? Well, we ordered and got from Waterproof Paper. I'm gonna go ahead and give them a shout out there. They gave us a couple samples here, so it's actually more than a few samples. These sheets, never played with these before, but they gave us quite a few, including a blue one.
No way, dude! I'm
like
actually kind of stoked about that.
They knew. I mean, well, I sent it from IVPAC, so they knew. I mean, so you look us up. We're the Paper Air Corps. If you could tell there, they sent us a 10 mil copy and an 8 mil copy. So what we have here is a slightly lighter bond and then a slightly heavier bond. And I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Oh, I can hear the difference at least on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
This 10 mil here, definitely a little bit thicker. How do I describe it? Well, it's kind of hard. You have to get it yourself to see. It really does look, especially on the blue, which you can tell the fibers, as you can always tell with paper. It's a little fibrous. And actually, I'm not entirely sure that literally might just be spacer paper. Forgive me, because I think that's different than this. But this stuff is, without being laminate, it is very, very flat.
So,
like matte coloring, like matte paint is flat. That's what it looks
like. I'm just curious. Do you have water around?
Do I have water around? You want to do the test right away, huh?
I'm just curious if you could wet it and then fold it. Wet it, dry it off, and fold it, versus a regular worksheet of paper. Get something that you can get a. It doesn't have to be a lot of. It doesn't have to be a lot of water. Just a couple drops.
Right. Big shout out and thanks to Waterproof Paper. There, I'm gonna go ahead and put that right in there. But it's if you want to wet it real quick. Huh?
Yeah, we'll put a link. We'll put a link down below where you can go get that paper.
Yes, certainly. And well, there you go. There is. I have my tea sitting right here, and you can see it. Actually, works out better because you can see it quite well. It splashed down on there. That was a fingerprint that did that because I did that on purpose. This was a splash. I just did that, then I dabbed it. Actually, this was like a light touch, and then I spanked it. So, I wanted to do that to see what effects each one had. The ones that were sprayed on, actually, all this bubbled up. This is like waxing on your car. It just bubbled on there. So, the dab is not bleeding through. That's pretty cool. It's cold, but it's not bleeding through. And then the slap there is actually not bleeding through at all. It's a little, oh man, it looks weird from this side. It's like you can see where the spot's supposed to be, but it's not really doing anything. So that's pretty cool. All right, now do we have anything I can dry that off with? Because he wants to see like the fold right away. What I said originally when I did this was I was going to actually use these sheets before I just turned clean sheets into paper planes, because I typically recycle. I always recycle, people. It's always better for everybody. But I can do that. We'll dry it off here a little bit. Okay, the spot is, it's stained because it's tea, but they do not look like they did anything bad to worse for wear. There is no bleed through. There is no this one that obviously got wet has that wrinkled effect to the wing there that you see.
Yep.
Dabble there, yes. This does not have that. It is still a clean, non-wrinkled sheet. You can't really tell, I'm sorry.
No, I'm seeing it. I can see the stain, obviously, but...
Yeah, you can see the stain, and that was a little crinkle that I just created. But yeah, there is no wrinkling. The paper doesn't feel wet anymore right there. It worked out pretty well.
That's pretty awesome.
Hold on, I do want to do something else too, because it does say it's writable. Oh my god, dude! Wow. Whatever the material is that they surface this really works well with ball ink, because this ball just wants to glide right over this. That took no effort at all. This pen's not exactly. I mean, it writes pretty good, but it doesn't write that good. That wrote really good. So it's true what they say. It just writes fairly well. And they say like standard ink pen, waterproof ink pen, any climate, any weather. You hear that? Any climate.
Hey,
Might need to get some of this.
you might need to get some of this.
Dude, tear, puncture, and abrasion resistant. I mean, dude, it's like made for us.
Oh. Well, then that, yeah, okay, well.
I have to admit, with the 10 mil versus the 5 mil, I can honestly say this is the 5 mil we tested. You probably may want to reconsider making an interceptor out of it without trimming some weight, because I can see where our inner folds on an interceptor would make this too thick really quick.
The 10 mil?
So, yeah, 10 mil. So the 5 mil feels
I thought that was
pretty
8.
close to. Or is it 8? Oh yeah, it is. I'm sorry, my bad. You're right. It's 8. It's 8.
Okay.
8 mil. Yeah, you're right. 8 mil. So yeah, yeah, the 8 here. Okay, so there is a difference just between the
You can
2
see a
points
difference, honestly. I can see a difference.
Yeah, you can probably
Just when you're
you can
holding
feel
it up.
too.
I mean, not that way I can't tell, but when you hold it
Right.
up, when you're well, kind of more at an angle, so I can see, so you
More
can
at
see
an
the
angle?
actual. No, like the side of it, the side, the yeah, like that. But
Yeah,
I mean, kind of. But I could, anyways. Maybe it was the reflection of the paper.
it could have been. These are really cool in that respect because, like I said, they're like it's synthetic, so they're completely matte. Not like you're not used to seeing that out of Xerox paper, but even with regular copy paper gives a kind of gloss effect. I mean, not much, mind you, but like
Can you
like
get
that there.
Can you get that stuff at like Office Depot and stuff?
That I'm not sure of. I did not ask him about that, and I didn't look. Remember, if you check out the website for us, Mark, maybe we can see. Obviously, you can get it from them, and they will send you some samples. You may be able to get it from there. I know they've got a pretty good online presence as far as that goes. Well, I wrote on it, so technically I can use it now. I wouldn't even begin to tell you what I can build with this thing, because I wouldn't really want to waste it on something that sucks. Could build a Diamant, but I don't know. It's also, like I said, this is even the 8 mil, and I don't remember how many different bonds they do have, how many different mils they have.
I think it's just
So-
the 2.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
This, like I said, 8 here does kind of like you may want to, like, I don't know if you'd want to push an interceptor's folds. You could try it. It may require like a little bit of trimming, not as much as you'd think, but I definitely wouldn't try with a 10. The 10 is already starting to be thick. This is starting to feel like Dodge paper kind of. It's a little bit more pliable, but like I said, I mean, that one I really wouldn't. It's amazing how much that those 2 marks of mil do make. This one I could see like, yeah, I might try an interceptor with this. Maybe not a Javelin V5, but maybe a V3. I'll probably do a 3 with it. Basically, what I'm saying is,
And when did you get that in the mail?
Literally like, I believe Saturday. And I ordered it like, was it our last show or the previous show? We were talking about waterproof paper. Whenever it was, I mean, I have to admit, me personally, I don't check my email as often as I should. So, I mean, I emailed, I think that night, and probably didn't check it right away the next day. And they responded and said, like, sure, what address would you like? So I gave them the address, and here it is. So it was pretty quick response. I was really surprised. They even emailed me like tracking and updates as to where it was. So very good customer service. Got to give a shout out to that. Yeah, I would suggest actually, if some of y'all are, if you're really interested, give them a look up. See if you're interested in getting some. They say a package from geoshops.com, and obviously waterproof paper. Mark, did you find anything like? Are they at Office Depot or anything? Or?
I did not see anything online. Let me actually go to Office Depot.
Depot.
Yep. And type
I
in
mean, their customer service
waterproof
and obviously their website is
paper.
very accommodating. So I mean, you just order from them. Maybe they
Yeah,
maybe they
I'd
haven't
I'd
branched out
recommend
yet.
just going
So
straight to their site.
right.
Yep. I mean, because they don't have not at Office Depot.
Now that's their cover sheet. Their cover sheet is obviously basically the same. It is the same thing. They just mark it with the sticker. So that's another sheet we could use. The colored sheet, yeah, that's a regular Xerox. So they did it as spacer paper, and then they sent 1, 2, 3, 5 sheets. Yeah, 5 sheets of each. So I mean, you already have a good start without even paying just to see what you can play with. Like I said, I would like to take it out in some kind of weather, foggy, misty, humid weather, just to see if I can write on it and then form a plane, because that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
As they
I'm gonna
as they
have to hit
say
them up.
it works anywhere you do. So, I think it's also a standard size. They just use 8.5 by 11. So if you're used to or want like legal, they may have legal sheets. I can't remember if I saw that or not. They might have. I think I saw different sizes, but not very many, obviously.
They do have. Mm,
He could be sharing that with us, but he's just doing it himself.
yeah. I only see the 8.5 by 11.
Okay. Maybe it was when we were looking around for others
I
or something
mean,
like
they
that. I might
have
have seen
other. That's for the puffin paper.
Okay, because yeah, that wasn't the only one we were looking up, but
Waterproof inkjet.
Wow, that was interesting.
Waterproof paper. They have this one, which has 11 by 17, which is a little, is a little pricey for 50 sheets.
A little, yeah, a little. That's weird.
Well, for the 11 by 17, it is. But you're probably doing. Yeah, you're probably getting some.
Okay, I have an interesting. Okay, I have an interesting thing to report. I want to say right away. I'm gonna give this to you guys right away. Like obviously you are testing this along with me right here, right now. I haven't played with it much, but I'm playing with it in front of you because you guys have seen that I've got it. I do want to report that it writes really strange. What I was doing here these are random scribbles, of course. It obviously, like your ballpoint pen, it wants to roll really good. I'm not providing any pressure at all. But if you're a heavy writer like me, it's really weird because I dented the sheet.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that
right here.
Yep.
That's a dent from a right on the other side. I tried it on. Obviously, your cutting mat is a little bit more like giving, but the desk is hard, and it still does that. So I want to say right off the bat that if you write heavy, and I do have a tendency to write heavy, as in pushing down hard, it seems to like move the paper out of the way and dent it. It's the best way to describe it. It really puts these dents in. So you may want to be kind of forgiving on your writing, back off on some heaviness. I mean, because it takes no effort to get ink onto it. So I could try it with a pencil just to see. But that's probably part of the synthetic nature of the paper. Wow, holy cow! Pencil doesn't show up very well. It could be my glare. Oh my god, dude! You almost have to write in pen on this paper. I'm going to say that right off the bat as well.
Okay. No, well, that's a good note.
Yeah,
but I think that's kind of how they designed it anyways.
It's true, but if you can see that, yeah, that's very ghostly. I mean, that's not your angle. You can compare that pencil, right? You can barely see my IVPAC on there compared to the pen. And the pen, that's various degrees of pressing, but man, look at how dented that does get. Yeah, so again, keep that in mind when writing on it. Apparently, yeah, pencils. I'm assuming markers work good. I can go ahead and do a marker test here.
Oh, your focus is messing up too. Look at that.
Oh, well, I probably brought that too close.
There you go.
All right. So this is a gel ink ball. Okay, that writes. Yeah, that writes pretty good. Yeah, that writes really good. Okay, didn't think that would really have any problem. Hell, that might be the better bet because you already kind of like want to
Yeah, but
pull off with
does it
gel.
smear?
Probably, well, like every pen would when it's wet, yes, but no, not really. As long as you leave it a little bit, that did because the dot was heavy. But like, as long as you leave it a second or two to dry, it's pretty good. It does not smear.
Okay, well that's
And here I've got a silver Sharpie. Let's see here.
oh yeah
Wow, dude,
yeah that came out clear.
that is that is crazy. Yeah, it comes out really good. Um, and it looks quite metallic. It looks, oh man, dude, it's like nail polish on there. It's really cool. I don't know if you can tell that, but it
Yep,
looks metallic. It
yep.
reflects. That's pretty cool. All right, so yeah, I think red's pretty good. Just watch out with your ballpoints. As long as you don't write too heavy. Pencils probably not recommended.
And this
I'm
wasn't
guessing
even
any
meant
kind
to
of
be a
pencil.
review video, but we're going ahead and doing it.
Going ahead and doing it because I got it in front of me, and this was part of what I wanted to do in the show. So I mean, at least I got the waterproof paper I wanted people to see. So you can see, and we're getting it out there. I mean, this is a review for them too. You know, it's like,
Yep.
okay, so here's the amount of writing you could do. I don't have. Wait a minute. I can go a step further, people, because I do have this handy. Hold on. Something all IVPAC people must have. Your box of crayons. I got a box of 96 here. We're going to do a crayon test on this right away too, just to see how the crayons come out, because a lot of us like the crayon mark our colors. That's why we have the colors on there. Oh, and it colors good. Crayons do take it pretty well. That's even with pressing down a little bit. Yeah, no problems there. It just that looks nice. As a matter of fact, I would venture to say, you know how when you do with crayons, if you go to either edge, you leave crayon residue. Yeah,
Yep.
you've done that before, right? Yeah,
Yep.
it piles up. It seems to do that a lot less because that happens to me a lot because I write so heavy. But there's less of it there. There's one spot where I started, but for the most part, it's quite even. It writes pretty good. So yeah, crayons as well works pretty good. Get yourself a box of crayons. They work really good for marking your planes up. All right, so wow, that's putting you through most of the writing tests you possibly could. So it writes quite well. Again, don't do heavy, and don't use a pencil apparently. And then the other thing would just be folding it into something that we could fly with. So what should we build here, folks?
What should you build?
Well, like I said, this is an 8 mil. Not as heavy as a 10. I don't know if I wouldn't want to put it through with a javelin right away, but I don't want to give it a phase either. I could just do like yours. I could do a simple wasp there and see if a wasp turns out. I don't mind building another wasp. I need to have more of my test fleet there, so I could do that real quick. Or unless you want something else.
Let's see what else you got. I mean, you could. I'm trying to think here.
This is technically going to be a waterproof plane. So I mean, not like I would leave it outside if I could help it. But I mean, that could be very well one of the tests you have to do with this thing. I don't think it's actually. They don't proclaim to have like indestructible paper as far as that goes. I mean, like if you're out there, for example, if you're on the job site, you know, you got to write something and it's misting outside. I'm sure it's good for that. They don't expect us to be in paper air forces and throwing them against each other and leaving them outside. So keep that in mind if you were to get this stuff.
Say if you're out flying your plane's not going to get killed in the past if you run across the field and pick it up.
Exactly. Yeah, it gives you a little bit more time to save your plane, or maybe even if a light mist, or definitely in humidity. In your case, if you've got high humidity, this probably could handle it.
Yep.
But yeah, it's not something where it's like, oh, let's leave it out there in the downpour, see how it does. Probably not recommended. So, I could build anything. I could build a Hagataka. I could build a React. I could build.
You could build
a Nova.
a Venom.
Oh, give me a. I'm not, dude. I have got to lock that down. Okay, folks. I'm gonna say it right now. Venom, yes, I could, but like Venom is such a one-off. I have to dismantle one of my planes every time just to build another one. So I mean, yeah, I could. But I've got a horrible problem with that one that I haven't fixed yet. So
What's your problem? Remembering how to build it?
no, I mean I remember how to build. I've got 5 of them, but the problem is they're all. That's my fingerprint plane. It really is. Every one of them seems to be a little bit different. So I haven't locked down the production way of building it. Every way is not the same. It's not consistent yet. So sorry, it's just not that way yet. I ain't gonna lie, I definitely have forgotten how to build the original. All the ones I build that's why they're called Venom NGs. It's the new generation because the original has been lost. I don't know how to build the original. I just know it looks a lot like the new one. It probably wasn't folded the same way, but it looks a lot like it. You could do with that what you will, Mark. I know you're gonna be like, well, is it the same, blah, 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 or whatever. I don't know how to build it, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean,
How does it fold?
yeah, how does it
It's
crease?
obvious-
Does it crease well?
Obviously, it obviously wants to crease pretty well because the pen goes through it pretty good. And again, this is, I'm assuming the synthetic that they use is probably, second fiddle to paper, as it were. So being allowed it to, allowing it to be written on and folded. I don't know how often folding it is. But it takes a crease pretty well. Not as fine as, like I'm using the fingernail. Oh, no, never mind. Okay, no, that's a pretty good crease. Yeah, that's pretty solid. That's a knife edge. Yeah, it takes creases quite well. Yes, I'm leaving that out there for you. Yeah, it takes creases quite well. So, what the hell should I turn this into? I'm not turning it into Wyvern. No team triangle, man. This is going to be a little bit too much for that. But
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, well, that's another one that requires a lot of folds. I'm not willing to take this one that step first. But let me go ahead and use the other new toy that I got.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah,
I got one of those in the house.
Since I figured since we're doing this, like, the cutting that we're talking about and how we do our cutting, we might as well go and get one of these so that, like, it's like, okay, we need to make the cut. So yeah, I will.
Yeah, I probably need to buy one of those. My wife has one. And that's off limits.
Well, I mean, that's off limits. You're not going to do any harm cutting. You got a cut board.
Yeah,
right
but
there.
my problem is I don't put it back.
Oh. She knows you so well, doesn't she?
Yeah, I don't put it back, so it's
Oh, okay, this thing's sharp. Oh, you're not supposed to cut this. You're not supposed to cut the steel ruler, people. And see, I'm nervous because I don't know exactly how much pressure I'm supposed to put. I guess it doesn't matter. I'm on a cutting surface and I'm with the blade, so.
But see, you're putting pressure on it and it still didn't cut.
I know, yeah, right.
So that tear resistant is probably pretty accurate.
It's probably pretty accurate. I mean, I could probably tear it, but fine stuff like an airplane crash is probably not going to rip it so much.
Yeah, go ahead and...
Oh! It is pretty tear resistant. Holy cow! Yeah, it does not.
It
like
bent.
to be torn.
It didn't like to tear. It bent.
Yes.
And then it did tear, but it bends.
No, it has not. It is not tore. It's not in half yet. It's just an S shape. It still has not broke in half.
Interesting.
That's crazy. Whatever the synthetic is, yes, definitely does not want to tear. So it is pretty freaking resilient. Another plus to you guys. That's a pretty good product you have there. I can't imagine somebody coming all pissed off to the job site going, damn, these plans, and ripping it and they don't rip, They're like, I really want to rip that up. Okay, so I got my square sheet. So what are you calling that new thing that you built? Because we'll make one of those.
I don't even know how to build it.
Oh, my God. He's got two and he doesn't know how to build it.
Yeah, I don't remember how I built it.
Well, hell, truth be told, we don't exactly remember how we built React either, so we just played with it. Oh, I said I was going to build a lance out of this. I guess I can't do that no more because I built Make it freaking square.
Well,
Well, you built yours out of a square, right?
yeah, this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I did. All right, hang on. You gonna build one of
Wait,
those?
okay, I was gonna either do that or I was gonna do a wasp to show you how much it looks like a wasp. Okay, it creases on itself pretty well too. You could follow the same crease.
Well,
Obviously
what do you want
it's
to build?
resilient to that. I'm probably gonna do a wasp
All right.
actually. Either that or a goblin.
Okay, I'm just gonna build another one of these things, I guess.
Are you? Okay.
I think.
You're gonna take apart. That's number 2, right?
Yeah, this is number 2.
That's number 2. Okay.
Yeah. So this one's gonna get taken apart anyways because it was garbage. So
I could build a diamant right there too, but I've got enough diamonds in the test plate. Well, I probably don't have as many diamonds as I've got wasps. So actually, building a wasp out of this versus a diamant is hell. It's probably a stupid idea, but I'll do it anyway because I'm all about stupid ideas.
there we go.
So yeah, people, go check out Perfect Paper. Get yourself some waterproof sheets. They apparently have really good product. Really nice folks out there. And I mean, at the very least, go get yourself some test sheets. Try it out yourself because, again, very accommodating. I just asked. They sent. I sent that on behalf of IVPAC. So if you guys try to do that, you can, but just tell them you're an individual contractor now because I did it for IVPAC instead. So.
Oh my goodness, am I gonna be able to remember how to build this because I cut it?
Well, you just cut it to open it up, right? So you're not destroying it yet, right? Wow, you should definitely. If you have any of your planes, like we were talking about to the folks before, that like when you fold it, it's under so much stress they rip. This might be the perfect paper for that because it's probably heavy resilient to ripping. This thing might handle stress pretty well. Notice I said might. I haven't gotten all the way through yet, so we'll see where we're at.
Oh, this is actually pretty basic too.
You said it was when you first started it. Did you not say? Didn't you not say it was like pretty basic when you started it out? I thought you did.
I did.
Man. It's really cool because it's the kind of sheet, again, that's like when you do this, it's, like I said, it's highly flat, non-reflective, matte, like paint. But wherever you, like, scrape with your fingernail or folds or anything like that, it mats it down. I'm using matte twice, but it pads it down so it turns it glossy in those areas. So it'd be really cool to, like, take a non-functioning pen and writing invisibly, like your words, because it shows up on the mat and gloss. That's a pretty cool idea. It's like building a plane out of cloth. I ain't gonna lie, it's almost exactly like what it's like building a plane out of cloth. Holy cow. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and say this too. It's like, yeah, with stress, maybe... Okay, may not be the most ideal things for a plane with a lot of stress.
Why not?
Because at least with paper,
You can get it out.
Well, it's got give, and I mean this has give, but it doesn't want to crease once it gives. So it has that give. It's like it's just if you want to work with your folds, you may lose your folds because, damn, it just wants to round out the folds you already made. That's how it relieves the stress. So it might not work too well with planes with stress. Therefore, the interceptors might be out. I mean, small price to pay, I think. Damn. Interesting way to get the creases involved. It is creasing pretty well. The pockets are like anywhere it's supposed to stress. It's coming out pretty good. Yeah. So, okay. Slight down angle to the anhedrals. I'm probably going to write on this with a gel ink pen so that I don't have to worry about me and my heavy writing because, again, I have a tendency to heavy write. It does make me wonder exactly, like, how well this would take to say a phase, because phases, like, they need a curl. And one of the other things about this, of course, is discovering how well these wings would say curl. You know, with paper, you get like a wing curve up or down or whatever when you start building something. And this kind of paper may fight that, in which case, not making it good for particular planes that require those things.
Yeah.
What's today's date? The 27th still? Again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We'll be tomorrow for those of you in the U.S. and a couple other places that I don't remember. I don't remember all the damn places that celebrate this kind of thing. Just know it's near the end of November here. Okay. Hell, I don't even remember what's the number. What's this? Look at this! I got my coding quick reference sheet right here. Dun, 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 dun. And failure because WASP is not even on here. Damn it!
Right.
That was embarrassing. I was gonna use the coding quick reference, and now WASP isn't even on here. Oh, well, you suck.
Okay, so now I got a square. Because I didn't quite fold that right, so I had to fight with it.
Well, it's either U, V, or W. I don't remember what it is. Screw it. I'm actually mostly building this WASP just to show Mark over there at NASA's exactly how much his new plane looks like one of my newer planes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, no, they're different. They're definitely different. They look a lot alike, but they're different, especially because you got way more weight, and it likes to dive into the ground. WASP does not like to dive into the ground. I think actually there's been a video. Well, there might. Forgive me for saying it. There might be a video posted of WASP's flights. WASP flies pretty good. That's at least a medium range, capable of more. It's got a semi-high loiter, but. And there we go. And if you see it, and that's the finished product. And like you look at that compared to what Mark has over there, and you might be like, "Wait a minute, it's kind of identical to what he just built." Kind of. These are different animals. Plus, fact, he hasn't even named these yet. So there.
WASP NG.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so, Tim. So.
You're so dumb. If she didn't watch the Laugh channel so much, I wouldn't get that right away.
Okay, so yeah, it's a weird shape. It's a weird feel because it's all really, really smooth. The folds are a little bit more poofy overall, for lack of a better term, because like I can't where the bulk of the folds is. This is supposed to be a 90-degree kind of plane, fuselage to wing, and you see what it's doing here.
It's curving.
That's because the bulk of the folds is up here near the front end. Yeah, they don't want to stick so much. So the more folds you get, there's like no crease at all right here on the top. There's a nice tight crease where there should be back here, but here it's kind of lost, and so is where the wing root meets the fuselage. The leading edge is quite fat, especially right there. Trims out to something really sharp, but it makes the wing really deep near the front end. But other than that, though, still not bad overall, and something that could be, worked with. I don't think this is also like paper where you can kind of train it. Like if you were to put something heavy on it and just let it sit on that to hold it down, it would stay that way. I don't think this is probably that kind of trainable. A synthetic paper like this usually never is. They usually don't have like high memory, so you couldn't expect to keep it that way. But that being said, I would still expect this to fly like a wasp should. And it does, as you see right there in front of you, it does want to poof right back out. Because again, there's some memory to that. I don't know, how does it look like when I just turn out this backlight? Ooh, what do you think of that? The lighting scheme changed. But yeah, that really, okay, that showcases the fact that the wing pockets running down in there, like there is like no fold here whatsoever. I was going to tape this, but I just had an idea. I'm going to try to see if I can crease that while there's still pockets and not on the plane. Hopefully, maybe getting some crease in that so they stay down. I'm expecting miracles here, I think, but whatever. I mean, this is in no way to say, by the way, that this is, an affront to people who made this marvelous product, because, again, not exactly what their primary concern was when creating waterproof paper, but it is just another way to perhaps use it. And plus the fact that we as paper airplane designers should always be able to work around whatever products we're faced with. So the simple matter of this was, if this turns out to be too heavy, you just trim some of this off and should be able to get the creases back in like there should be. And that actually did kind of solve my problem. The crease is much better in this top area as opposed to how it was before. I'm going to do that again to see if I can fix the wing root here, because that didn't take as well as I'd like it to have. So it does. It's a little bit more of a challenge. Again, this is reiterating. I say again, if you're dealing with a plane that has a lot of folds, if you don't have too many folds, I don't foresee it being that much of a problem. Like, you can go ahead and make what you will, but if you've got something that's like a lot of folding going on, you may want to trim as you fold, which you have to do with the heaviest of planes, trying to keep it down. So, okay, that's good. That's good. I got some wingage there. I got some wingage there. It's creased, which is way more important. Try creasing this. Okay, creased. Yes, yes. Okay, okay, doing good. Doing good. Okay, creased. All right. Oh, that looks much better. Okay, so again, this is the first time use for this, so we're learning as we go. So basically, what you could do, this would add time to your builds, but you could, once your creases are formed, you could undo it, recrease, and then refold to get it to match, because, man, it still looks like that, though. It's some tough paper, but the creases are better than where they were before. Try to get the angle up for you there. You can see that it still wants to come up a little bit. Wasp is pretty much a 90 degree to 90 degree aircraft. It's straight to straight, so this is a little different for it, but I can see where this would work. So yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
The feel, like I said, I can't get over this feeling. This feeling is really like
in this thing, and I'm not liking it.
so smooth.
Big.
Are you building? Is that what you're building? You're building another one of the ones you just had, right?
Yep.
That's crazy. I didn't think that's how it started out. Man. Oh, okay, sorry. It's getting a little bit warm. Okay. Yeah, so not a bad little bird. Wasp never has been bad, but I have never tried a plane built out of synthetic like this. I imagine if nothing else, what you can get out of this is a plane that's practically humidity proof. Like you would most likely be able to fly almost anything out of this material and at least be humidity proof, which could be a boon for you guys down there, Georgia, Florida way. You know, I mean, these things will probably be practically immune to that. Like literally, I don't think something like that it was probably made for. Because again, this isn't the kind of paper you'd want to leave out in a downpour, but humidity, I don't think it would be affected by it almost at all. Take it out there, twilight, sunrise, noonday, get some flights in, get it back, and it won't like poof. You won't have to worry about, oh man, it's dead, stuff like that. So definitely a bonus at least for that. I mean, is it true all weather? It's probably pretty close. I'd venture to say even it was mentioned over there before that like you could probably just enough time to get it out of the rainstorm. So if you flew it and the rainstorm was starting, probably be okay. Just so long as you got it back out of it. Again, they're not proven to be like indestructible, just damn close. There's you guys' taglines. Not indestructible, but damn close. We blind you guys again in a minute here. Right.
There we go.
These days, I may think about getting my lighting straight so you guys have less issues with it. I don't want to blind you up.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I jacked that up.
What? Does it suck now? What, is it not what you wanted? Yeah, the fingernail creasing is like almost out of there with this thing. Well, pretty good though.
I took probably too much weight out of that one.
You'll never, yeah, but it's always easy to add it back in. It's way easier to add it back in than it is to like decrease it. You could be decreasing it for weeks.
I mean, I literally took out all of that.
Talk about refining the plane. You get steps upon steps to make sure that each flight is probably going to be similar. But not a bad little bird. Not a bad. Well, I'm saying that. I mean, I know personally, Wasp is pretty good. It's just I'm trying to see how it responds to this paper. I think I might have altered its shape a little bit. I don't know where I did that. Symmetry, people. Symmetry is the most important thing. Try to keep symmetry at all costs. Plane must look the same on one side or the other, or else you're not going to have a right flight. I'd like to put a staple in this, but I don't think I should add any more weight because I need something to hold it down. Because right now, right as it sits, with me holding the center of gravity, is where it needs to be. But if I don't hold it there, the wing brackets pop up and slow flight airfoil deploys. You have wing pockets. A long time ago, we talked about this as stall proofing. You add glue, you add tape onto your wing pockets to. Let me illustrate this better by changing the lighting scheme again. But you see my wing pockets are up here. That's just a prime example of like an area where if you do have a plane that stalls in flight, where if it flies this way and then it hits up nose and then pulls back down, if you have wing pockets on the top, that just add like it captures air. Air comes back in when it stalls and dips the nose because it goes straight to the front. So a cheap way and semi-way, it's not like by all means 100% proof, but a cheap way of stall proofing it is to tape those puppies down or gluing them down inside. Again, not foolproof, but it does help tremendously. So anything like when you add them, if you have them on your plane where they do pop up, it is pretty much creating a slow flight airfoil.
Come on now.
There's a lot more drag is being created back there. If you don't have too much rear wing, it doesn't matter so much.
Yeah.
If you have the wing pocket spilling over under a rear wing, it does make for slower flight. And there's that 1920s era transformer stapler he's got. Which sounds like you could probably drill through cement with that thing.
What you talking about?
What? So again, not so bad. Seems pretty cool. Obviously the step would be to fly. I guess I could fly it. Ooh, okay, it's a little heavy. I imagine this is exactly what NASA's plane over there did by just nosediving into the ground, but like.
Yep, that was it.
Yeah, 10 feet away. Yeah, mine did that too.
This one, this one is not going to, because this one is got like no weight in the nose, and I'm trying to put it back in.
So here we go to test number like 5 on this because we did all the writing and we did the folding. Let's see how it cuts. I mean, okay, granted, I used the roller cutters on it and apparently it withstands that pretty much. But now I'm going to take like the thickest part of the plane and cut some of it off, and we'll see how it handles that. Granted, these are some pretty thick scissors, so if I scream in pain, it's because I cut my finger off trying to go through the paper. Oh, never mind. That was easy. Ta-da! Weight's off. Okay. I did a little bit of trimming onto the nose there to see if I can lighten the load, so to speak. Something that typically I have done with them. And it still nosedives. Da-da-da. Yeah, that didn't fix nothing. And it parks. That was a flight, by the way. It just landed. This one I could at least depend on doing that, whereas last week I tried to do that and I couldn't get them to sit here to save myself. Okay, some of that I admit probably has to do with the airfoil. Again, with the wing pockets deploying like that, because this is probably how the plane sits in flight. If it were to be, you always deceive yourself when you throw planes. When you throw a plane, you grab it, you hold it, you pinch it, so it looks nice, clean, like this does. You know, like there's not too many wing pockets.
Yeah, you don't set it down like this.
Right. So you always have to keep that in mind when you're flying. This is paramount. This is like a primary rule. Always remember that, like in flight, this stuff deploys. This poofs out. It gets wider. So yeah, like it doesn't look nice and pristine like when you're holding it. It doesn't fly that way. It flies like that. So it's
yeah, that's
totally
why you have
plane,
to tape.
Exactly.
Bond.
Yep. Gotta tape. Tape, glue, whatever it is you gotta do. That's why you gotta do it, because I mean, if you think it's gonna fly like it does when you're holding it, you gotta make it do that during the whole flight. And I don't know. I gotta admit being a little bit befuddled on how I'm going to do that with this one being as heavy as it is, because I need to tape it, I need to staple it to create some more weight.
You're gonna have to slant that nose.
Well, I did some. I did take some of it out. I just don't know how far I can go. I mean, I could do like yours does and just like eliminate the nose entirely.
Yeah, this one is like all gone. It actually
I
came.
see it. Holy cow.
It actually came to a point, whereas this one.
Well, you could eliminate that.
Yeah, I could cut
If
that
you wanted
across, but this
Right.
is how it came. I cut it too deep, and it came to that. And I'm gonna keep it that way just to see how this flies.
Fair enough.
But I've put two staples back in
You
it.
gotta try it. Holy cow! You added staples.
I put two staples. I mean, I literally took all the weight out, man.
Oh, okay.
I took this thing has no weight in it whatsoever in the nose.
Okay, so what I'm going to do with this one is
I almost want to put another staple in it.
To eliminate the need for a staple, I'm going to tape down the wing pockets at the keel, because I feel that's going to do the least amount of. I need the other light. I feel it's going to do the least amount of harm because it's near the center line.
Yeah.
And it will hold the wing pockets down. So put it right there.
That's what I usually
inside
do.
the plane. So it'll still have some wing pocket. Okay, now I gotta refold this thing. And again, I'd like to reiterate that like it does have some low memory, so your creases are going to be a little bit trickier with this thing.
So it doesn't like to keep it doesn't like to keep the creases?
It keeps them as long as there's like I said, less folds, because even Wasp here, who doesn't have that many folds in the front, it had a little bit of a trouble, and my wings are fatter than they normally are up here. This section here, which is where the most folds are, is extremely fat compared to how they normally are. So
they're
it's something
normally
to look for.
thin and crispy.
Yeah, it really, like the back end of the wing here, if you can see that, compared to this fore portion of the wing, yeah, it tapers. Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, it's a taper.
Mm-hmm.
This is fat. It comes to really thin right by the anhedral. Yeah, and this is what they normally are all the way down. So, yeah, like I said, the thicker the material, the more it's tougher to fold. So again, like Interceptor or many folds, you may want to consider some trimming cuts or not doing it at all. But I mean, I think it's a small price to pay to getting your plane indestructible to outdoor, weather and stuff.
Well, that was garbage.
And the report from the front lines right away is that was garbage. I might have to retape this thing myself because I just cut the tape to make the tape, and now I'm going to have to retape, which means I'm adding more weight onto the nose. Okay, so it's, wow, dude, this thing wants to come apart. Holy cow. Come on. All right. Part of it could have been my anhedral slipping out. All right, so this should be held together pretty good. Okay, we're back to normal.
What are you talking about?
It flew really good. It was definitely the wing pockets deploying in flight that caused it to fly straight down into the ground, because once I tape them down now, oh man, it flies like a standard wasp. That's a nice flight. Holy cow. I did not, you don't know it because, well, you know my apartment layout, so you know it didn't hit, because I didn't throw it in the living room. It didn't hit the sliding glass door. However, it practically made it to the sink in the kitchen, which is almost equidistant.
Yeah. All right. So I cut those points off too. Now.
I don't know if you caught that because it flew across there, but yeah, dude, it just glided perfectly straight in. This is nice.
Yep. So I cut the points off.
Okay, so you made it completely flat.
Yep. So I trimmed some more weight, and I got to add it back in, and I'm gonna end up having to add.
See, look at how similar yours and mine look. They're pretty damn close.
Come on, I hate this stapler.
I think we did this before, but like mine's 6.5 inches long. No, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that. With the anhedral folds, it is 4.25 inches wide, and almost 3/4 inches.
See, this is 5.5 inches long.
Oh, so you're shorter than me. All right.
Yeah, this one's even shorter.
Because you cut more weight. We cut more weight out, so you decrease its length.
Yep. With this daggone thing, I don't understand why this stapler is garbage. It's like every other staple is just bent.
Garbage.
Yeah, it's just bent beyond recognition. Yeah, it's like every other staple. There's no staple in there to cause it to mess up again.
So, anyway, yeah, going with it. That's some nice stuff. A Wasp is a pretty good one too.
There we go.
Wasp is one of my better planes to test this out on. I tested it out pretty good. I would highly recommend this for other aircraft. I mean, I would anyway, but that's pretty good flying. So, waterproofpaper.com. I highly suggest you guys check it out. Get you some. Probably worth the endeavor in the long run. Robert, I'm saying that especially for you because you were the one that brought this up, and well, here it is. We have some, and it works. Oops, I made it too tight. There we go. Okay. So yeah. Anywho, NASA's over there trying to get his perfected. Look at all the shavings. He's doing a good job getting that stuff trimmed down. That's really cool. Any of you guys, you probably recognize if you're trying to trim weight down, you see these little bits and pieces like this. Or like he's got over there, 3 different sides. Like, okay, I'm trying to find the right weight balance here. And that's a really good indicator that we are trimming to find weight. Sometimes, rarely, every now and again, you have to add it. Mostly, you have to subtract it. And if you're really lucky, you don't have to do anything to it.
Yeah, I'm doing both.
It's really rare that you find, the perfect balance right off the bat.
Yeah, I am doing both. I'm cutting and then I'm adding it back in. Because I cut way more than I wanted to off of that one.
Like, I mean, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
then,
We're
then
getting
it's
some. We're
always a
getting
matter
somewhere.
of, oh, did it fly better?
It wants to.
Hey, that's key. As long as it wants to.
Yep. Okay. It wants to now. Now.
I know the designs. The design's got to be sound, so I would imagine, yeah.
Oh, yep. That was down. I just nose dived right into the ground.
And sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't if you're dealing with a certain plant.
Okay.
So you can fight it with some up flap, but
Okay, I got you. So this one's definitely all right. I'm done with that one. All right, let's put a date on it because before I forget. All right, so I got something to work with on this one.
yeah, he has something to work with. Well, I mean, that's just a furtherment of your design, right? So, I mean, you were going to do it anyway. Okay, you got a sheet right here. This will work. It's covered in goo from another sheet. Perfectly all right. Get this little trash out of the way here. Okay, sorry, I had to get a sheet of paper. All right.
Yep.
Follow along in class, kiddies. I know these always turn out to be builds, don't they? But
That's where we're at.
that's where we're at, But we did discuss, we wanted to discuss, so we're getting there. And I did say I wanted to build a lance for you people. This is going to be a lance. Still is aircraft. I was going to turn this into a fancy how to build, and I probably still will, of course, because I need to get the sheets out there. But this is Lance, my interceptor from the early 80s. I graduated out of this thing pretty quickly. Well, I wouldn't say pretty quickly. I think I used it from 82 to 86, I want to say. 82 to 85. So, 3 years. Long in paper Air Force terms. Couldn't build anything more advanced. I mean, what do you expect?
Look at the size difference in these.
Holy cow! Holy cow, dude! How much length did you take off of there?
I took off probably a good. Ooh.
I'm letting it speak.
Probably ½ inch.
Ah,
Extra.
extra. Okay.
Yeah, because this one's 5.5. Yep.
You're starting with your normal sheet. This is a normal 8.
Yeah, this one's 5.5, and this one's only 5.
Oh, so you took a ½ inch out? Okay. And all out of the front, which is where all the heavyweight was coming from. So.
Yep. Something I do gotta fix real quick is these anhedrals. These are too big.
So you're taking your normal sheet, you're folding it lengthwise, then you're folding a triangle in on one end, and you want to fold it to the outside. Get your crease, try to get it along the center as much as you can. You can alter that, but we're not worried about that right now. I'm making the basic type A. Okay. This is, you fold it and then you flip it and then do the same thing. This way your lines are the same. You always want to keep every fold line as close to the center as possible, close to the same as possible, excuse me. Fold it again, so you get this shape, and then do the exact same thing on the other side. I mean, this is really a basic plane, so again, but keep in mind it's 30 plus years old. I'm sure everybody probably starts out with something like this. Use of fingernails, highly recommended. Keeps your creases sharp. Less chance of folds. Always bring it along your thickest fold points. Okay, so you end up with something like this. Again, that's just 2 triangle folds from the center line. So you started out with that, your half sheet, 1 fold, another fold. You end up like that. And now, basically, you're just taking it and doing one more. You're basically folding that triangle 3 times from the start of the origin. So
Oh yeah,
this one's
I remember that.
this one's the hardest one because this is where it really wants to start poofing and stuff. And your leading edge has such an extreme angle. But again, we do this flipping technique to make sure that the wings are as even as possible. Okay? And there your basic wing shape will be. Very long. It ends up being 11 3/4 thanks to the very narrow but present Delta diamonds. And since it's an arrow design, it is only 4.5 inches wide. Ironically, almost as wide as that. Did you get it folded? Did you get them folded right now?
Yeah. So I got this. I got the anhedrals folded smaller. So let's. Oh, nosedive.
Oh, again. Well, something I recommend with this is because you have a.
It's good. It's good. That was bad throw the first time. We're good.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't avoid a bad throw, man. You got to get better at throwing. I do recommend snipping the tip just a little bit because it's so extreme. Just give yourself.
Yeah,
you don't need to worry about weight when you got a
this
plane
thing
like
wants to
this.
fly.
That's good. That's good. You need one. Oh, it wants to fly like a rock. Oh my god.
Would you cut the nose off of that thing too?
Only because it's so like I was telling them. It's because it's just so. It gets to be such a point. You don't need it because it's the weight of it is not what drives this thing. It's already long and narrow, so it's gonna fly straight because the wing chord is such that it can't fly anyway. This thing will never glide. You're gonna give it anhedrals. Again, this is not to help it glide because these are gonna be really, really small. These anhedrals are here basically just to keep it straight. For those of you that need something that flies long distance and straight. And they're small. I'm only folding these at the very tip. They're only about a 1/2 inch deep, but they have to go along the center line. So they're, oh, I'm sorry, they're not even a 1/2 inch deep. They're only 3/8 of an inch deep because your fuselage, where you fold your wings, is not going to be very deep. This plane, to get wings out of this, you have to make a very narrow fuselage and an even more narrow anhedral. So basically, it's when you get to this point where you fold the wings is pretty much whatever you're comfortable with, because it's gonna want to fight you, especially up near the leading edge, where the lurks is. Lurks is leading edge root extension, basically the forward edge of the wing. Continuing on down here, plus the fact that you're dealing with a wing this long, so and that's about it. You will need to tape it a little bit because they need to be controlled. But you have, that is a lance. It ends up kind of long.
Looks like a limo.
Yeah, it's kind of narrow. But these are really good, very basic interceptors. They do go where you point them. They don't glide very much. You could do modifications to them to alter their flight plan a little bit. Make sure they fly straighter. Give it a little bit of a tail. Give it a little bit of a X if you were to cut the anhedral and flip it up. That always makes any plane fly straighter. I did tape the nose. Again, I highly recommend that because it just makes it more stable. And it's very, God, I hate that crap. You always try to get the angle just right so that you can tell. And my fat fingers are in the way. Can you tell that the plane is pretty straight? Pretty straight. I'm just being a stupid head. All right, but yeah. He got his plane down. I got my plane down. Yeah, I did pretty good. It just ran into the cabinets over there. I don't know if you heard the thunk. You might not have. It kind of hit the ground and the cabinet at the same time. Yeah, basically that. Well, it's slightly better gliding. If you have any problems with them, one of the basic problems they could have is there's a little bit more wing, way long body. They could corkscrew. If they corkscrew, Nobody's got time for it. Just make bigger anhedrals. Just make them slightly bigger and step up until they stop corkscrewing because the anhedrals are going to fight that. Yes, it blends in so well. Hey. That was the core plane from last week. So, we got that. We got a nice testing in the form of some weatherproof planes from Puff and Paper at waterproofpaper.com. Check them out. Highly recommend getting some for those of y'all that have problems flying in whatever area it is you're flying in. NASA's over there got to test out a new version of his bird. He thinks it's all right. At least I assume he thinks it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna find out. That's really what it's gonna come down to. We're gonna find out. So,
but we also need to be finding out about React there. You know, seeing how React does. And you showed that up though. You got yours. I got mine. Got to fly those out there.
Yeah.
We have planes to test. Is there anything else we wanted to discuss? Yeah, okay, show off. Bring up, yeah, okay. Hey, mine's gray. Mine looks cool.
It does look cool.
I mean, even the lines actually kind of look like they partially meet in there. They don't exactly meet, but your nose just dangles.
Yeah.
Man, React and Wasp, bro. Wow, really close. Works out good. So anyway, I think just about covers it for the time. Where are we at on time, there?
We're hour and a half.
That's pretty good. If there's any questions, comments, leave them for us there. Nice of you to drop on by. Like I said, hopefully it's gave you a better idea of some long-range planes, long-range strikers, what the dead roll is. Again, your decoy. NASA's showing off his birds. Waterproof paper. Go get you some. Anything else for him there, NASA?
We're going to put the link to the waterproof paper in the description. So make sure you go ahead and click that. Right, go
Check
over
them
to
out.
Puff and Paper or waterproofpaper.com and check that out.
Very nice group of people. Like their product already. Yeah, haven't even written on it and taken it on the field yet, but I'll do that. Probably give them some more reviews for that, but definitely make a good plane.
Yep. We appreciate you guys stopping by. And as always, remember to keep them flying.